Hey, I see some people messaging me. So Anna is in here as well. It's best if you private message her because she's the one monitoring it, and a lot of times I don't look at the live chat. So I see Stephan's with us. Stephan, what's up?
Hey.
Hey, good. Thanks so much for doing the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Right. So I've known Stephan for many years, and I want to say I've seen you like go through this evolution of yourself and you know, just growing personally, and also obviously selling your company, and knowing you before that and after that. And it's been, you see this with a lot of people, and with you it's been really awesome. And actually, like, I ask you for a lot of advice a lot of times, and it was a real pleasure to do your podcast as well. So thanks for coming on. And for those of you who may not know Stephan, Stephan's written excellent books that I have had the privilege to contribute to, and in the forwards and a little bit here and there. And Stephan, where can people get your books that are watching this?
They can, anywhere that books are sold.
Right.
Barnes & Noble, Amazon. We have a book website, artofseobook.com. I have two other books too. Art of SEO is the one I'm most known for, but I also have Social E-commerce, which you wrote the forward for. Thank you very much.
My
pleasure. Google Power Search, which is just a short little thing, under 100 pages, all about how to find anything in Google, including confidential business plans and Forrester research reports that cost thousands of dollars and so forth. So yeah, find that all for free if you know how to search.
Awesome. I'm messing with my white balance so I don't get ghosted out here, because my lights on here, or my windows are open. So yeah, the art of SEO, for those who don't know and want to learn about search engine optimization, I've never been an SEO guy. In fact, I was the guy that would troll the entire SEO industry because I ranked really well for terms, and I built something that a lot of people wanted to link to, and it probably would have done a lot better if I would have done SEO, but SEO is never my concern. And it's actually never been, even though, like, don't get me wrong, like, you know, I use WordPress for a lot of things, and that kind of takes care of it for me. But if you want to know about SEO, and really, like, from a guy who not only had a company that advised some of the best clients, you know, biggest clients in the world, and serviced them, and, you know, sold that company, but also I've continued to hit up for advice. I think I hit him up a couple weeks ago, and I haven't pursued that, but I've been traveling a lot. But yeah, the art of SEO, everybody go buy it. And honestly, like, it's you don't make that much from a book, which sucks, but it's cool.
No, you don't. It's like minimum wage. It's like minimum wage.
I know. I sold like so many copies of my book, and it's like, I'm just, you know, I mean, for me, literally, like, it's just the book, you know, like, I just take so much pride in just having the book and sharing my knowledge and other people finding value in it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm sure you probably feel the same way.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I mean, it's a labor of love, and it's a great way for people to touch people's lives and make a difference for them to, as an entry point to getting to know you. And I mean, that podcast serves a similar role, right? So people can get all this great content from me for free, and access to my incredible Rolodex of awesome people, you know, my network, including you. Your network is your net worth, as they say. So yeah.
I've never heard that before, but I'm going to steal that and claim it as my own. Not that I've ever done that before. But yeah, that is so true, is because, I mean, we both know a lot of very successful people, and I've always told people, like, I'm just such a relationship guy, and, you know, before money, just like, you know, I've done stuff for people and lost money and helping them promote, and you know, like, vice versa. You know, I felt bad for some people that have helped me and it didn't work out. But, you know, like, we continue on, do friends, and then we do stuff later, and just always help each other. And I think, like, good people is good people. And in this business, you see so many people come and go. And like me and you, we were like, I tell people, I'm like, gosh, the SES, I missed those days. It was so much fun when there was all the gang was there. And now like I went to one of those in Chicago, and you were the first person I saw, and I was like, oh, I'm going to know people here. And then that was it. I didn't know anyone. You introduced me to some new folks, but other than that, it was like, gosh, you know, it was just so, how do you feel about the SEO industry today, like the events and conferences compared to they used to be, you know, 6 years ago?
Yeah, things have changed a lot. Where do I start? Okay, so there used to be some great conferences back in the day called Search Engine Strategies or SES, and those fell by the wayside. They kind of rebranded as ClickZ, and yeah, nobody goes to those anymore that I know of. PubCon is still going strong, surprisingly strong. I mean, it's a great conference, and with all the changes in the space, it's still stayed really relevant. It's a great show, and I really enjoy speaking at it. Yeah, SMX has gone through a lot of changes. They just recently rebranded. So there's 3 conferences that are notable for SMX. There's SMX East, SMX West, and SMX Advanced. Advanced is just taking place this month. But yeah, it's different now than it used to be. There are a lot fewer speakers. The sessions are not ones that really resonate for me. So I didn't even pitch this year for SMX Advanced. Just didn't seem like a great fit. So I really like the folks who run SMX. I spoke at SMX West in March, I guess it was, and it's just, yeah, fewer speakers, fewer sessions, a pretty small conference as far as conferences go. But I was at Internet Retailer last week, and that thing was huge with tens of thousands of attendees. It's massive. So yeah, there's a lot of conferences, and I still go to them, but there's like too much to choose from, kind of the paradox of choice. So
yeah, it is interesting, and it's good to hear PubCon is going strong, because I always thought that was the people's conference. Like, you know, I started at SES, and I was never a SEO guy, but it was like there was no affiliate shows. I found out about Affiliate Summit from Chris Jones, and he was like, you should check this out. And I went to it in Orlando, and there was probably less than 300 people there. And they all knew each other. So it was kind of like, like I said, I wasn't at the beginning of PubCon, but I know like evidently it started kind of at a pub, and then that's where it came from. I mean, from my understanding. And I think Affiliate Summit started in a very similar fashion, in that, you know, it was a small group of people. And I remember, back then I was, you know, very immature, and I think Kanye West says, you know, tripping off that drug called fame, you know, but I wouldn't say it was fame. It just was, I was making so much cash, like it just didn't seem like I could do anything wrong. And so I was talking, and I didn't know anyone like face to face. So for me, like I could talk smack about anyone, and I pretty much did. And well, I did, especially in the SEO world. And it was when I went to the first Affiliate Summit, I had talked bad about Sean Collins, and I had talked bad about Jim Kukral. And if I roll up out of my cab, and there's outside is Missy Ward, Jim Kukral, Sean Collins, and there was Elisa Piccarelli, who I ripped into Elisa Piccarelli like probably like 3 months before that. And Jim Kukral walks out to me and shakes my hand and stuff, and I could see them kind of like smirking. And it was years later that they said that Jim Kukral told him he was going to knock me out. And they said, you wuss, you know, whatever. And actually it was a couple years before I was cordial with Sean, and I think he was even skeptical because I still was, me. And then, like in the last, like, I would say actually the last, like only the last 2 years are we like I consider him a good friend and a good friend, because we've recently exchanged some emails that were pretty sensitive to stuff. And years ago, I would have taken them and run. It was in particular, it was something to do with one of the speakers at Affiliate Summit was anyway, there was a thing with that, and we went back and forth, and Affiliate Summit, without because I don't know if he'd be happy just saying that, but what I want to say is that he cares so much about the speakers at Affiliate Summit, and he does so much background check that there was just one person that there was a question about something they had done in the past. And so he asked me, what I thought. And it wasn't a person I was a fan of. But I told him at the same time, like, in this little instance, I don't think there's anything to that, even though I do not like the person. But from a give value perspective, I think he gives a lot of value. So, but that's, I love Affiliate Summit because he really dives into, and they have a board, of people that look at all the speakers and all that stuff. So I was on that board for a short amount of time, and it was mostly because I just never participated, and just a time thing. But I loved the old days, and I come across photos all the time. And when Neil Patel was on the show, I actually he brought stuff up, and I think I might have made mention of that on your show, that it's funny to see, like, that he was such a little kid back then. But so what are you working on? I know you got your books, but what's a day in the life of Stephan Spencer?
Well, I speak a lot. I go to other people's events. For example, I'm getting a lot of echo, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe it's me. Sometimes I get that when my computer speakers are too loud. Is it bad now?
I'll just keep talking. Okay, so I don't hear myself again.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes I forget my speakers when I don't wear my headset, which I should, because Beats is a sponsor of the show. So go ahead.
All right. So a day in the life. All right. So I'm probably traveling to 3 or maybe even 4 different events in a month. And so, some of those are me speaking. Some are me attending other people's events. I'm a big seminar junkie. I love learning and being parts of masterminds and secret societies and that sort of stuff. So I'm in Neil Strauss's Secret Society. I was in Jaya's mastermind for a year, just last year. She's a famous sexologist. My fiance and I were in that. So we're doing all sorts of different events. It's a lot of fun.
What's Neil Strauss's secret thing about? Or is it a secret you can't talk about?
No, I can talk about it. So he's got it's called the Society. It's a secret society that I guess is not that secret, because there's stuff on Facebook and stuff about it. But the idea is that in these intensives, you're gaining all this secret knowledge and tools and strategies and things. So like I just missed the one that happened this last weekend in Vegas. They were learning how to shoot Uzis and different things. They had a competition going, and the winning team got to drive a tank over a car. I saw the video on Facebook for that.
But it's a lot of like highly sexful, a lot of highly successful people in general.
Or sexful, yeah. Either.
Yeah, sexful. Well, I mean, I guess I got mixed up because Neil wrote,
he wrote the game all about pickup. Yeah.
Yeah, but
world of pickup artists.
I recommend that to everyone. And they put out a version of it that my wife actually was like, "Are you reading the Bible?" And it's like this leather, and it's got gold pages on the like all the outside of the whatever you call it, is gold, and then it's got like this. It actually looks like a Bible. It's leather. It's on Amazon, and one of a kid who does stuff around our house. He's kind of like a handy whatever. He's a sophomore, and he just became single. And I was like, I live vicariously through him. So I got him the game, and I had the old Pickup Artist TV show. And so he's like, he was telling me the other day, I called him and I said, hey, what are you doing? You want to go eat brunch? And he was like, sure. And he's like, I'm like, did you just wake up with some chick? And he's like, yeah, I'll have her drop me off. And I'm like, see, I'm like, is it working? And he's like, dude, that book is fascinating. And he's like, I tried the one last night and it worked. And he's like, the one where you go up to a girl and you say, hey, if I wasn't gay, you would totally be mine. And then you kind of like little bit go away, and then you're all just like, shills down, and it's just, I love, but I mean, more than, just the pickup artistry or how to pick up, women. It's just for marketers, it's just such a lesson in psychology. And I wrote a lengthy post once about what people can learn from the pickup artist. And it was totally based on the TV show. And, but a lot of people were like, wow, that is super cool. Because there's just so much of it that translates into marketing and just psychology.
Right. So neuro-linguistic programming, anchors, and matching and mirroring. Yeah, it's so powerful. Like if you match somebody's breathing, for example, they'll never notice. You just breathe in when they're breathing in, you breathe out when they're breathing out, and they feel just so connected and synchronized with you. It's great rapport builder. And it's a lot less obvious than if you just match their body positioning. So if they got their arms crossed, you've got your arms crossed. If they've got, that one leg over another, you do the same thing. That's kind of obvious. I mean, probably they won't pick up on it, but if you match their breathing, powerful. So, there's so many things. I mean, it's just, and you're only scratching the surface with the book. So it was very helpful when I was recently divorced and I needed to get back out there. I mean, I've got the woman of my dreams now, and I don't need to use pickup, obviously, but it's fantastic knowledge for just business, lead generation and rapport building. So there's this thing in the pickup world called IOIs, indicators of interest.
Yeah.
So let's say you grab a woman's hand and you lead her somewhere. So you're being a leader, right? That's very sexy. You squeeze her hand while you're walking with her. And if she squeezes back, that's an indicator of interest, an IOI. There are other things for playing with her hair and so forth. And so you're looking for several of these IOIs and okay, I'm in. And if you don't get those IOIs, then you know to keep working. It's just feedback, right? So one of the most powerful things about just getting out there and kind of failing spectacularly, getting blown out of the set. Like, so these sets of like five people would be a 5 set. Go just walk right in, right? So let's say that you are showing up at a bar or a restaurant or cafe or whatever, and you hover for a moment, you already lost your on trying to you might as well leave. You have to just go straight in. So having that kind of confidence, and here where the intensives really helped me was not in like pickup, but in fact, there's only one intensive, or maybe 2, that were focused on pickup. Half the guys are happily married in the group of this is the Society 100 group. So, it's not about pickup, but it's about being your best self. And one of the intensives was an urban escape and evasion intensive. I learned how to pick locks, how to pick handcuffs, how to break out of zip ties, and start cars with jiggler keys. The last day of the intensive, we were kidnapped, hooded. We were handcuffed to the inside of a serial killer van, one of these white windowless vans. We had to escape. And we were getting tased too on the ride. That was a lot of fun. So we have to escape out of the handcuffs, escape out of the van, and make our way across town with no money, no ID, no credit cards. So I had to social engineer my way across town. We were in groups of 3, like teams, and we had to avoid the bounty hunters who were after us the whole time. Because if we got caught, then we lost a bunch of time. Pretty crazy. That really emboldened me to. What's that?
I was just saying it's like a super intensive, amazing race.
Yeah. I mean, imagine being so emboldened that you can walk up to a stranger and ask them for a ride across town, or to ask somebody for money. Like I was in a grocery store and I asked the person ahead of me for $5 to pay for the thing that we had these challenges. We had to follow all these clues and do all these things in order to come in first place. And out of the 18 or so teams, my team of 3 came in first place. So you got to take decisive action, and that kind of decisive action and confidence where you're able to go up and ask some stranger for money or for a ride and not feel ashamed, but just feel powerful. It reflects in all aspects of your life. I mean, you could be a powerful business person. You can be powerful in your relationship. You can be powerful in your peer group or on stage if you're speaking. It is amazing. It's life-changing. Oh, there you are. You're back. Okay. You're back.
I figured it out. It was actually in my, is it like super loud?
No, it's good.
Okay. So right now, for those who are normally with us, is when we, like people who watch the replay, I'll insert like a read in here. So I'll be like, everyone always asks me, especially when I see them in person, how the heck do you get anything done? You're always traveling around the country and you've got 4 companies running and you've got all these employees and you've got all these projects and all this stuff. You're just dinking around and showing you're going to eat and all this stuff. And how do you find time to work on anything? And it's a matter of focus. And about 2 years ago, I discovered a product called Alpha Brain, which I take all the time. And Alpha Brain really helps you focus. It's been proven in medical studies, a double-blind study. It's not a placebo effect, to really help you focus in and get all the stuff. If you're analyzing, what do they call it? If you're having, I haven't taken my Alpha Brain yet today. So if you're having paralysis by analysis because you're just overwhelmed with all this stuff, give Alpha Brain a try. Even if you're just getting Alpha Brain, go to onit.com/ShoeMoney and get 10% off right now. Use code ShoeMoney on checkout. You're welcome. Hey guys, are you out there looking to further your business? Are you tired of working with companies that overpromise and underdeliver? Then we've got a solution for you. Leads Market is the industry-leading network for financial products. From short-term loans, personal loans, auto loans, small business loans, Leads Market is your one-stop destination for success. Whether you're an affiliate looking to make money in the industry with the highest payouts or an advertiser looking for clients delivered directly to your door, Leads Market is here to help. As a Leads Market partner, you are provided weekly payouts, analytic reports, as well as affiliate manager available 24/7, as well as the highest payouts in the industry. Sign up at leadsmarket.com today and tell them ShoeMoney sent you. So basically, all right. So welcome back, everybody. And we're back with Stephan Spencer talking about, actually we're talking about picking up women and how, or the pickup artist industry and all of it's not just psychology. It's like, what do you call like the whole, besides the psychology, it's the IOIs, it's the key, what do you call the key things?
The science of influence.
Yeah. The signs of interest. There's so much to it, and it's so directly and indirectly relates to marketing, and it's awesome. So we've got some really good questions here, and I hate to digress from this talk about picking up women, but basically
we'll have to circle back at some point in this show about talking about how to get like room upgrades and things like that. That'll be really handy for folks too.
Yeah, we definitely need to get back with that. And so the Michael has a question here where he says, he's actually got two questions, but well, one is like, who do you consider to be a leader in the SEO space besides yourself?
Well, Rand Fishkin. He was my co-author on the first two editions of The Art of SEO, and he's amazing.
I'm not a fan, but he does know his stuff.
You're not a fan. Yeah, I think highly of him. Yeah, so it's tough to be able to differentiate folks who just talk the talk and those who walk the talk.
Right.
So that's the challenge, because somebody might be really good on webinars and on stage and write great articles for search engine land and so forth, but they don't optimize any websites anymore. They just don't have the time. And so how do they stay current? They get briefed by their team. Like, oh, this is something you should talk about on your next webinar. So they're not practitioners anymore. I'm a practitioner. Say I sold my agency back in 2010. And back then I was not working directly with clients. It's just, there was no time for that. I was too busy writing and speaking and doing the thought leadership stuff. And we had way too many clients. I couldn't spread myself across dozens and dozens of clients. So I never worked on any client work. And I decided I wasn't going to build another agency after I sold NetConcept. I was going to work with a handful of highly committed companies, really cool, forward-thinking, fun to work with companies, and that's it. So my dance card gets full really fast.
Yeah.
I have a small team of people that do some of the, like, all the admin stuff. That's a whole other topic we could talk about. Is like, I have such a well-oiled machine in terms of everything that's administrative, like email and calendaring and travel bookings and everything. It's all handled by virtual assistants and my team instead of me. Like, if you email me, Stephan at stephanspencer.com, that won't be me answering it, probably. I mean, it could be, but if you're asking for a call or you're interested in more information or whatever, it's probably my virtual assistant. Not a lot of people trust a virtual assistant with everything from their primary email address and account, and all of the history for many years of history. It's all there for my VAs. I have multiple VAs who have access to that. Even my credit cards. Like, they can do a trip to Europe for themselves if they wanted with my credit card, because they've got multiple credit cards of mine.
Wow.
And yet, if you don't let somebody earn that kind of trust, then you'll never get to are able to delegate, right? So the 3 Ds: delete, defer, delegate. How are you going to do the delegate portion, which is the most powerful? I mean, actually, deleting is the most powerful, because just the power of saying no. Most people are people pleasers, and so it's hard to say no, and then they end up doing somebody else's priorities. You know what? If you manage your life by your email box, you are letting other people determine your priorities. It's the stupidest idea.
You know, I think but I actually would. I mean, like, I'm baffled by how you do it with the VAs. You should write a book on that. And you know what? We should do it old school Aaron Wall style and sell it like SEO book. Remember when he used to get $100 a pop for that? And he sold a bazillion copies of it. Like, that was that crazy. But yeah, I mean, just like the VA stuff. And how, I mean, like, something I'm curious about is how at what point do you feel that you can trust a VA with your credit card information?
Yeah, you have to. There's so many things. So it all starts in the interview process.
Yeah. You got to put together
the book. Let's start with the interview process.
Okay.
When you interview somebody, you got to ask them the honesty test. which very few people know this. Now a bunch of your listeners do. And it's simply this. Let's say that, and we're getting the echo thing going again. Maybe turn down your volume a little bit.
Gosh dang it. Okay.
So let's say I'm interviewing you for a VA position. So Jeremy, looking good so far, thank you. And another question here, what would you consider to be the most important of these several different attributes or characteristics? One would be attention to detail, another would be honesty, another would be creativity, whatever. I just maybe list off a couple more, right? So I have you pick, right? So which one is the most important?
Honesty.
Can you answer it? Bingo. And if they answer anything else, even if it's clearly the position was written in a way that it's got to be an attention to detail sort of person, and if they don't answer honesty, they're out.
Yeah.
Because I don't care how amazingly detail oriented they are, if I can't trust them, because other things can get prioritized over honesty, no way. No way. So that's one trick. Another thing I do that's really powerful to weed out a lot of the posers and lower quality candidates is to ask them to solve a riddle, and to actually have them do that before they can even get on a call with your team. So I don't do the first interview, I do the second interview. I have my head VA do the first interview. And in order to get that interview, you have to solve the problem-solving riddle. And it has something to do with like a convict and a child and a police officer, or maybe a family or something. And we've tweaked it so that it's not as easily Googleable for the answer, but you have to get them across the river, and the convict can't be alone with the child, or the policeman has to be with the convict. I forget exactly what the details are, but there's some there's some parameters around it, and then they just have to show their work in the email that they send with their CV or resume. And they also have to, there's some other details that they have to include, like examples of social media profiles. Like, you don't have to give me your personal Facebook URL, but I want to see at least a couple social media profiles. Right, Pinterest or Twitter or whatever. And great thing about this is it's not easily faked. Like, you can't just go and set up a Twitter profile and send that to me and that'll count. Like, I'll go back in the previous history and I'll see, oh, this is a brand new account, or this only goes back like a couple weeks. I want to see what you've been doing on Twitter 2 years ago. That gives me a lot more insight into how good you are at just internet stuff, right? So I want somebody who gets it, gets how the web works, and really savvy. So, and also their attention to detail. Do they follow directions? If they didn't include the links to social profiles in their email, directions in the first step of applying for a job, and where it's a detail-oriented type of job, no way.
Right.
So I have a process that I use that, like I said, the riddles and everything, it's so good. And I don't have to get involved until the very end, once we've narrowed it down to like a half dozen really stellar candidates. So powerful having a system, and it's replicatable. And so you want to have a library of training materials. So let's say that I'm going to teach some part of this process to a VA. Like, here, I want you to do this screening, and I'm going to put ads up on Craigslist, and I'm going to show you the process, and here, let me do a screen share with you. You record that. You don't just teach them, you record it, and that becomes part of the library of training materials for your VAs.
Yeah, that's really good. I did record some for, like, sometimes when I'll have Anna, like, I'll teach her how to, like, today we were doing like, just upload, like, I used to have like the greatest photo gallery ever, and I still do. Like, it chronicles all the way back to like 2004 conferences, and I used a thing called Gallery, which was open source open source software, and I don't know why they ever stopped development or nobody picked it up, because it's still by far the best ever. But they stopped supporting it, so it became like really hackable and stuff like that. So I stopped using it, and then there's all these WordPress ones, and I don't think there's a good one out there, except for I settled for NG Gallery, and so now I used that one for a while, and I switched to other ones, and Saeed has one, and his is very good. It's just way overcomplicated for what I want to do, and so I'm switching back. But yeah, anyway, it's like I got to get your kid on this now that we've switched away from Webmaster Radio and other stuff, because Stephan has a. By the way, I used to always screw up Stephan's name, and it was kind of I don't know if it was a joke so much, but it was, because I think it pissed him off. But it was like
it was more funny for you than me.
it was literally like something I just could never get out of my head, because I went to high school with a guy named Spencer Stephens, Spencer Stevens, and he was a dick too. So with Stephan, like forever, I would get his name. I would call him by the wrong name, and he would always look at me and be like, "It's And so I would like, someday I would get it right. And so now I got it right. And it's been years since I did that wrong. You got to give me that. It's been years since I screwed that up. So okay, I've got a couple questions for you. So what? And I like to.
By the way.
Yeah.
On the top, before we switch on another topic, for folks who are really interested in that VA stuff, and they want to have their own little army of minions doing their email and whatever else they feel like they can trust that person to do, or people, always you want to have redundancy in the system to have multiple VAs, not just one. But there's an episode on I have two podcast shows, The Optimized Geek and Marketing Speak. But on The Optimized Geek, there's an episode with one of my previous VAs, who's a rock star, amazing. Now she's super popular in blogging and Pinterest channel and so forth. So she's kind of a mini celebrity. She's actually got a book deal now. So she's not doing VA stuff anymore. So I'm not worried that she's going to get poached, because she's well on her way. But her name's Carolyn Ketchum. You got to listen to that episode of Carolyn Ketchum and me talking about all the systems and processes, all the ways that we tricked out my emails and travel bookings and calendars, and the ways we synchronized stuff and delegated things to VAs and things. It was just an amazing episode. That's a must listen. So that's Carolyn Ketchum episode on The Optimized Geek. So optimizedgeek.com, or just search iTunes.
Did I lose you? I think I might have lost you.
Nope, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Oh, you stopped talking. I was like, I thought you were going to continue. So optimizegeek.
Because I interrupted you, so I finally stopped.
optimizegeek.com, and then your other podcast is located at. What is it?
marketingspeak.com.
Marketing Speak.
And just the name of it. Yeah, the name of it is Marketing Speak. You can just search for that in the podcast app on your phone, on your iPhone. Or there are links, big buttons to subscribe via Google Play. Google Play Music has capability to subscribe to podcasts now. You can subscribe via Stitcher. And I had you on recently on Marketing Speak, which was a great episode. And I got to have you on The Optimized Geek to talk about your transformation, because you went had such a huge and amazing transformation.
Thanks.
And my show is all about transformational, like how to transform your peer group and your finances and your relationship, your sex life, your like just across the board, everything, like your productivity and how you delegate stuff. I just today I interviewed Cal Newport, who wrote the best-selling book Deep Work. It's all about how to stop doing this shallow work, of distracting work, of checking your email all the time and scrolling through your Facebook newsfeed and so forth, and how to get 10 times the amount of work accomplished. So that's going to be on the Optimized Geek here in the next few weeks, that particular episode. Lots and lots of good stuff on there. And biohacking. I had Dave Asprey on from the Bulletproof Executive. He wrote The Bulletproof Diet, which is a New York Times bestseller, inventor of Bulletproof Coffee. So definitely check out that show. But Marketing Speak is all about internet marketing primarily. I've had Jay Abraham on. I've had, of course, you on, and Neil Patel, and John Lee Dumas, Jared Spool, Syed Balki. Yeah, it's an awesome show.
It's so cool that because people always ask me, like, how do you get these guys on your show? Like these, we've had Tim Ferriss, we've had other people. And I was like, because I have a relationship with a lot of these guys, like Mark Hargrove, did his IPO and it was like 270 million. And then, of course, Kevin Hendrickson, who's a part of our Labor Street alumni group, in that Accomplify deal that sold to Microsoft for 200 million, and the list goes on and on and on. And then people always ask me, like, how do you guys get like these all-stars on your podcast? And I'm like, because we go back with them. So, Kevin Hendrickson was at Elite Retreat 1 when he was working for someone, but he was killing it with Google, and he actually was showing me everything he was doing. And I was like, yeah, don't show that to a lot of people here. And Sinkwitz and there's a couple others that were at that very first event. But my point is that, I want to say like we grew up with them, but it wasn't the case. But it's a decade of knowing these guys. And Tim Ferriss, before he had the 4-hour work week, he was going to SES. And I remember I was on a panel with Brian Clark, it was like right when it might've been before, I think it was like, the 4-hour work week, if it was out, it wasn't doing that well yet, because he stopped during the conference and was like, hey, there's Tim Ferriss, 4-hour work week, everybody. And, and he was like, hey. But it's like a lot of these guys, like Neil Patel, like, a lot of the other guys you named are like, I have a funny story about Jay Abraham. Is I went to this event that Rich Sheffrin put on, and it was a really, really expensive event that I didn't pay to go, of course, because I'm a cheap ass. And there was Jay Abraham there, and I had no idea who Jay Abraham was, and so I said to him, I said, what do you do? And he said, oh, I speak and all this stuff. And he looked at me kind of funny, like, you don't know who I am.
You have no idea.
It's just, it's weird. And honestly, I still don't know that much about him. I know he's like I should do research on him, but
he's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
There's a lot, there's so many people. I have my group of friends that I do, and then people are always dropping names around me and saying this stuff, and I really focus on a lot of my own stuff, and I just don't, like, I know you've been to these guys, you've met these guys, and if I would have, believe me, I would know a lot more about them, except for whatever reason, Jay. But yeah, so I have a question for you. This is what I love to ask people, like, what makes you happy ultimately?
Growing and contributing and connecting and loving.
So like usually when you ask that question, you have to peel back more layers. So it sounds to me like really like what makes you happy is making other people happy or helping other people be happy.
It's living my gift, identifying my gift and living it. And so my gift includes helping others in like helping them reach their full potential. So that's where the Optimized Geek podcast is so in alignment with my mission. My mission isn't in life isn't to optimize people's Google rankings. Yeah, I'm amazingly good at that. And that's not why I'm on this earth. So I want to touch millions of lives. And so I've got this path that I'm on, which includes continuing to do all the SEO and online marketing stuff. But in addition, I've got this parallel track that I'm on where I'm getting all these TV appearances. I'm starting with smaller markets, getting on easier shows. I was just like 2 weeks ago on Good Morning Arizona in Phoenix on Channel 3. And I was on Good Day Sacramento, which is a top 20 market a few weeks prior to that. I've done 7 TV appearances in 3 months. And my end game is to be on Good Morning America and or the Today Show next year with a New York Times best-selling book. And that book is going to be all about personal transformation, because I went through a huge transformation myself. I mean, you go to optimizedgeek.com and you look at the About page, scroll down and have a look at the before and after photo, your jaw will drop. I mean, you know what I looked like before. It's shocking. I looked like 20 years older than I do now. And that photo was from 8 or 9 years ago.
My
Crazy.
jaw dropped in small increments. Like, I mean, so the main before and after, like, I would see Stephan at shows, and sometimes there might be a year in between, and I would be like, dude. I mean, it is. You have transformed more than anyone I know in the industry. I mean, there's not even many. Neil Patel has transformed a lot. That kid, from being a geeky, glass-wearing, pimple-faced nerd to...
But you would still recognize him.
Yeah, for sure. But
like people would come up to me and they wouldn't recognize me. They'd be talking to me and wouldn't know who I was, but they knew me from like 2 conferences ago. That was a lot of fun. Like, I could totally punk people with that, but I didn't. I mean, I was just like, you know who you're talking to, right?
Yeah.
Like, no way.
Right.
Oh my God, I didn't recognize you. That's a lot of fun.
Right. That was just the only other person I could think of that has really changed their look and, you know, and that stuff. But I mean, he also was, you know, 20 years old when I first met him, and, you know, so
Yeah.
Everyone's going to go through a transformation in those years.
Yeah, paying somebody to go to college for him, that was funny.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's so funny. That guy is just literally his stories are too good to be true.
Yeah.
And one more question we got.
Optimization, right?
Yeah. How do you know when a girl wants to be kissed? That was a question we got before.
Yeah, so you test for the IOIs. So if they're not squeezing, you got to do what's called kino escalation. So you don't just go in for the kiss close without kino escalating. So kino, meaning like kinesthetic, you are doing stuff like, let's say that you run a routine on her where you're doing the ring routine, right? So that routine is based on, like, there are different fingers that relate to different Greek gods. Like the thumb is Poseidon. This is Zeus. Shoot, I don't remember. It's been so long. Can't remember the middle finger. Aphrodite, if it's the ring finger, and then Mars is the pinky. So let's say that the woman is wearing a ring on her thumb. Then you'd say, well, you know what that means, right? And then you'd explain the whole routine that, like, this is the only Greek god that lived outside of Mount Olympus. So you're kind of a trailblazer, just kind of do your own thing, very independent. And she'd be like, wow, yeah, that's true. You know, so it's kind of cold reading. But while you're doing this whole routine, and the pinky is always fun too. Like, oh yeah, that tells me a lot about you. You know, who used to wear pinky rings is the mafioso, right? So Mars, the god of war, that's not a good sign. We might already not be good for each other, right? So you're already disqualifying yourself. That's a powerful tactic, is disqualification. Like going up to a woman saying, you know, if I weren't gay, I'd be totally into you, is a disqualification. Totally works. So you're going through this routine and you are kino escalating the whole time, touching your hands and, you know, kind of, you know, massaging her fingers or whatever.
Yeah. So then once it gets to a certain, how many of those do you need? Like 3?
Yeah, that's plenty.
3. Okay. And then I was in the book, The Game, I believe it says something like a closing line to kiss was something like, you say, like, what is it? Like, do you want to kiss me? I don't know if that's it. And if they say,
oh, you know, yeah, that's kind of lame.
You think that's lame?
So if they block you, you
all right, well, let's hear the good one.
What was it? Oh, I forget now. Or I didn't. Oh, I didn't say you. Oh, yeah. So if they say, if you ask them, so kind of kiss you, and then they say no, and I say, well, I didn't tell you. I didn't say you could or whatever. I was just asking, or some stupid thing. Hell no, you don't do that. You just go in. You just go in for the kiss close. You don't ask permission. Okay. But you have to test to make sure that you are, yeah, you basically have to be a master of, what's the word I'm looking for? It begins with a C. Anyways, it'll come back to me. But
compatibility?
No, you're just, you need to know what's happening, what's going on with that person, right? So you gotta, that's, the word has escaped me. Anyway, so you're just kind of tuned in to where they're at. You get their world, and if you're just running your routines without being able to adapt based on this situation, you're blowing it. And then you get to the point where you don't need the routines anymore. You don't need all the tricks. You just have the confidence.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where you're kind of like just an alpha male. You don't need the tricks, but you just show up powerfully. And if you are in that situation, you have a powerful body posture and body positioning. Like, you'll notice that in a group of guys, the alpha male is the one who has his legs farthest apart. He's just standing more like in a V than anybody else. So if you want to like assert your dominance, just kind of subversively without anybody picking up on that, like consciously, it's all subconscious or unconscious. You just spread your legs apart as you're talking to the guys. Or even more powerfully would be, let's say that you're talking to a woman, you put your one leg up on the rung of the bar stool, kind of like a Captain Jack Morgan sort of thing, right? That is very powerful. You're asserting your alpha maleness. That's even better than doing the spreading your legs apart. So somebody's like super spread their legs apart because they read the same book or whatever. And you just put your leg up on the chair.
Somebody did, so, you know, I'm a huge fan of mixed martial arts. And somebody did a fight analysis going back for 5 years of the weigh-ins. And so they were, you know, in the weigh-ins at the end, when both guys weigh each other, they square off. And I mean, this guy must have spent forever doing this. And it was I remember the number, 78% of the guys that had a wider stance won the fight. I thought that was just
cool. There's
something to that. Like it was over 1,000 fights, because I mean, it was 200 events. You know, there's like 14 fighters per event. You know, it was over 1,000 fights. I mean, that's statistical relevance. And I just
yep. No. The word that that has escaped me, it came to me finally. It's calibrate. if you haven't calibrated to the woman, and this goes in any kind of relationship, any kind of engagement of one or multiple people, if you've failed to calibrate, you've lost it, right? So calibrating, like if you're going to run this routine no matter what, because that's what you've been taught, and you didn't pick up on the signals that she just got distracted by a way more attractive alpha male that's right directly behind you, and you haven't kind of asserted your dominance or whatever, then you've lost it. Or if she's turned off by something you said or didn't, let's say that you offended her. You used a neg, which is a kind of like shooting putting a pebble, like shooting a pebble at their forehead, like just like oh, nice nails, are they real? Is not a nice thing to say. It's a way to knock her down a peg. You only do this on women who are super hot. I don't believe in it because I think it's disrespectful and rude. But the puas, the pickup artists, all do that.
Do you throw nags at all?
No, because I don't. No, I just don't.
I would have.
That's not. It's not congruent. Like if you just show up powerfully, with confidence and rapport and savoir-faire, whatever, you're good. I mean, you're not going to necessarily win every time, but if you go in with knowing that you're going to win no matter what, because either you're going to get the number or the kiss close or whatever, or you're going to learn something. You're always going to learn something, so you'll always win. You're in control of the end game because you're not attached to a particular outcome that you have to get that phone number because she's the most amazing thing ever and better than sliced bread or whatever. And it doesn't, you just become unattached to a particular outcome. You're okay with learning and just getting better. And so it just is really powerful going through life like that, right? So unattached.
I almost feel like this episode should not be about SEO. It should be like how to become a pickup artist.
We should probably get back to SEO, right?
So
the three pillars of SEO, and here's how to do ninja stuff and things.
Yeah. So for somebody starting, I know you've probably never got this question before because I never have. So for somebody starting out new, from an SEO perspective, what I do think this is a good question, and you've probably got it a million times, but it's like, how do they prepare for success? Let's say they're starting with, they're starting with WordPress because that's the easiest point of entry.
Okay. So there's a bunch of stuff online, and some of my favorite resources, so you could go to Moz.com, you could go to SearchEngineLand.com, Search Engine Journal, SE Roundtable. There's a bunch of resources, but if you wanted to get kind of an overview of the science and art of search engine optimization, then read my book.
Yeah, read the book.
It's 1,000 pages, so it's not a light read. My friend Amy Africa says it's better than Ambien, which I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I'll assume so. So you got to put in the work. So read the 1,000-page book, and it's still pretty current. It came out in August, so it's less than a year old. Yeah, granted, there's some things that have happened that aren't reflected in the book, like Rank Brain is not in the book, and AMP, accelerated mobile pages, and some other stuff. But for the most part, it's still very current, and that's your primer. That's the Bible on SEO. You got to read it. And if you don't want to read it,
the mobile stuff that, because Google started doing the mobile friendly and all that stuff, do you think that plays into like desktop searches as well, or just mobile?
No, that's just mobile, but mobile is crucially important because there are more searches on mobile than on desktop, and it's never going back. It's always going to be more searches on mobile for forever now.
Right.
So
That's nuts.
you need to master this. Now, mobile friendly is a signal, but also mobile page speed is a signal that is going to be baked into the algorithm too. And so if you have a slow loading but mobile friendly site, you're screwed.
Yeah.
People are not happy to wait for a page to load, and especially on a mobile device, especially if they're paying for the data usage and it's a slow loading fat page. So you have to optimize it. Now, you're not going to get dinged for it right now. You'll get hit by a poor conversion rate, but as far as poor ranking in mobile search because of page speed issues, unless it's really egregious, yeah, you're okay right now. But you want to future-proof your SEO, future-proof your online business. And example, machine learning. RankBrain is machine learning. It's everything's going to be heading towards artificial intelligence. We're not going to be able to even know what the signals are anymore. Even the Google engineers won't know. So how do you optimize against that? I mean, you certainly aren't going to be able to just kind of skate through here and kind of figure out where the line is and cross it, doing some sketchy stuff, and then go right back along the line so that you're not getting penalized. That doesn't work anymore. It's not going to work in the future because of machine learning and artificial intelligence after that. So it's an evolving discipline, and I'm going to be teaching a 3-day workshop called Traffic Control on SEO. So we haven't set the dates yet for that, but that'd be another great way to.
Well, let me know what that is.
SEO.
Because I want to come to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're actually like the only. I don't want to say the only guy I respect, because I love like Greg Bozer and those guys, but like you're definitely like the top guy that I go to for SEO related items. And there's a lot of SEOs out there, but if there was a guy who I wanted to look at my stuff and take advice from, it would definitely be you. And I know like we pitched the book a couple times, and like we both said, like, you don't make much money from a book. I mean, I highly recommend it. Anyone out there, if you're a newbie or even if you're advanced, I mean, I consider myself fairly advanced. I understand a lot about SEO, but at the same time, like I'm having trouble with like my blog right now, and it's not an SEO problem. It's just like, for whatever reason, like Google doesn't display like my site link excerpts anymore, and I don't know why. So I was going to ask you that sometime, but they show them underneath, like they're just little blue ones. They don't actually spread.
Yeah, those are
out.
still site links.
What's that?
Yeah, those aren't they're not the expanded site links. You still have site links, but you have the kind of condensed ones, which are not nearly as good.
Right.
Yeah.
So
we'll talk about that another time offline. Yeah. But let me give a gift to all your listeners.
Yeah, we got to run.
I don't make much money off of the book, right? I make like maybe $1 or something off of a $50 book. So let me gift for everybody who's listening, and please do not share this outside of the broadcast. I don't want to see this all over on Twitter and stuff. But if you email my assistant, and that email is admin@stephanspencer.com, and ask for The Art of SEO, we'll hook you up. She'll send you a link, and then you can get a free copy, electronic copy of The Art of SEO.
Awesome.
Retail $50. Yeah.
And so congrats.
So admin@stephanspencer.com, and that's with an A, so STEPHAN.
That's really awesome you do that, and congrats to those who are listening live, because those that I'm totally editing this for the iTunes feed and everything, and I'm totally gonna say, if you want to watch it live, he gave out all these copies. So, all right, well, thanks so much for coming on the show, and tell your kid that I want to get her on there. For those who don't know, Stephan has a kid, Chloe, who I've had her on before. She's amazingly intelligent and very successful. And I love her whole story is amazing. So we got to talk to her, get her on here sometime as well. So thanks, Stephan, so much for coming on. We'll have to do this again sometime. I'm looking forward to doing your Optimized Geek stuff. It's going to be fun. As always, I appreciate it. All right, cool, man. We'll talk with you later.
All right.
All right, bye.